How to play Mysterium. Mysterium is a cooperative mystery-solving game, in which everyone wins or loses together. All players share the same goal of uncovering the truth behind the death of the ghost that haunts the manor, thereby putting his soul to rest. Players either play as a psychic or a ghost, and have to solve a murder in 8 turns. The role of the psychics is to help the ghost reconstruct the events of his murder by guessing the correct sequence of character, location, and object cards. Step 1. Set up the board as shown. Starting with the character progress board, the location progress board, the object progress board, the epilogue progress board, and finally the clairvoyancy tracker. The clairvoyancy tracker is double-sided. Use the correct side as shown for the number of psychics playing. Step 2. Assemble the clock board and set the hour hand to 1 o'clock. Place this near the playing area along with the 2-minute sand timer. The clock represents the number of turns left in the game and also acts as your clairvoyancy token discard pile. The sand timer will be used to count down the amount of time the psychics have to interpret their visions. Step 3. Each psychic is given a colored intuition token, a character sleeve of the same color, a clairvoyancy marker of the same color and clairvoyancy tokens of the same color. The number of clairvoyancy tokens the psychic has depends on the number of players. 2 to 3 players, 0 tokens, 4 to 5 players, 4 tokens, numbered 1 to 4, and 6 to 7 players, 6 tokens, numbered 1 to 6. Step 4. Make 6 decks of cards using the character psychic cards, location psychic cards, the object psychic cards and the matching ghost cards of each type. Shuffle each deck, apart from the ghost cards and place the cards face down near the board. Step 5. Choose the difficulty level of the game. This determines how many character, location and object cards will be used in the game. There are 3 levels to choose from: easy, medium and hard. The number of character, location and object cards are also determined by the number of players including the ghost. For example, for an easy, 4-player game I would need to pick 5 of each card type described above. Step 6. Now a difficulty level has been chosen for the game, easy game, with 4 players. For example, 1 player will need to pick the top 5 cards from each of the shuffled psychic decks. 5 character, 5 location and 5 object cards. Each card has a number in the corner of the card. The ghost will also need to pick up 5 cards from the ghost's deck, matching each number from the cards picked up from the psychic's deck. The ghost must not show the cards from his or her own deck to the psychics. Step 7. Place all of the dealt psychic character, location and object cards face up above their corresponding progress boards as shown. Place all psychic intuition tokens on the first character progress board. Place all psychic clairvoyance tokens above the 0 on the clairvoyance tracker. Step 8. The ghost will also now have 5 of each set of cards. The ghost must now shuffle each deck, and pick from the top of the pile the number equal to the number of psychics playing. For example, as this is a 4-player game, there will be 1 ghost and 3 psychics. The ghost must pick 3 cards off the top of each deck. These cards must be kept secret from the psychic players. The remaining 2 cards can be discarded. Step 9. Set up the ghost game screen so none of the psychic players can view the ghost's cards. The ghost must place the dealt cards into each of the psychic players' matching color and category as shown, starting with the characters, locations and then the objects. Step 10. Place the double-sided ghost tokens underneath the character of the same color as shown. The number on the back of the ghost token represents one of the 6 culprit tokens. The ghost, in secret, must choose one of the characters, locations and objects of the same color to be the killer, location of the murder and the weapon that was used. For example, the ghost, in secret, has chosen the blue line to be the murderer. The ghost will identify the number on the other side of the ghost token and select the same numbered culprit token. The ghost will then put the culprit token, side up, onto the space of the epilogue board. Step 11. The ghost player is not allowed to speak during the game and can only communicate through visions and images to the psychic players. The ghost must shuffle the vision card deck before gameplay begins and hide them behind the ghost's game screen. The ghost must then pick up the top 7 cards. The ghost must always have 7 cards in his or her hand. Step 12. The ghost, with help from the visions, must now help guide the psychics to discover each of their own murder suspects. As the psychic players identify each of the cards starting with the characters, they will progress up the board until they get to the epilogue board. Step 13. The ghost will pass the visions on to each of the psychics in play. The ghost must match the vision as best as he or she can to the character, location and object the psychic is attempting to identify. At least 1 or more vision cards must be projected to the psychics during each turn. The ghost must always have 7 cards in hand, so with each card projected to the psychics the ghost must take another vision card from the top of the deck. Step 14. If the ghost cannot find a suitable vision card to help the psychics interpret their character, location or object, the ghost can play a crow counter. The crow counter allows the ghost to discard any number of the vision cards in hand and put them at the bottom of the deck. The ghost will then pick new vision cards from the top of the deck. The number of crow counters permitted to the ghost depend on the game difficulty setting selected earlier. An easy game gives the ghost 1 crow per turn. A medium game gives the ghost 3 crows per game. A hard game gives only 1 crow per game. When the ghost plays a crow counter, the ghost must perch the crow on top of the ghost screen to help record and keep tabs on how many crow counters have been played during the game. Step 15. Once the psychics have been given their visions by the ghost, it's up to the psychics to interpret the vision based on the image of the card. The psychics can discuss the different images between themselves, but the psychic receiving the vision must make the final decision as to who, where, or what the vision is trying to communicate. For example, the yellow player believes his or her card represents the driver character, because the vision received looks like machinery. The blue player believes his or her vision represents the maid character, because the red cherries look like the red pin cushion. The black player believes his or her vision represents the Scottish noble character, because of the fur on the sporran. In this example, all of the psychics have interpreted the visions correctly. Step 16. Once the ghost has handed out at least 1 vision to each of the psychic players, the psychics have 2 minutes to interpret and discuss between themselves what the ghost is trying to communicate. The ghost must turn over the sand timer. The psychic players must move their intuition tokens to the picture they think the vision represents best. Step 17. Once the 2 minutes are up and the psychics have placed their intuition tokens on the selected picture, the psychics may place one of their clairvoyancy tokens on another psychic's chosen card. The clairvoyancy token with a tick represents that they agree with the choice made by the other psychic or psychics. The clairvoyancy token with an X represents that they disagree with the choice made by the other psychic or psychics. The psychics can place as many of their clairvoyancy tokens down as they want, but they cannot place any clairvoyancy tokens down against their own selected card. nor can they place multiple clairvoyancy tokens down against the same card of another psychic's choice. Only one token from each psychic is allowed per card. A psychic does not have to play a clairvoyancy token. Step 18. Once the turn has come to an end, the ghost can manifest itself to let the psychics know whether or not they have correctly interpreted their visions. The ghost can still not speak. Simply, the ghost must move each of the psychic's intuition tokens to the next stage of the board, or move them back down to the board they just came from. The placed clairvoyancy tokens are then removed from the board and placed in the discard pile at the foot of the clock. Any psychics who placed their clairvoyancy tokens against the correct card will need to move their clairvoyancy marker up on the clairvoyancy tracker. All played clairvoyancy tokens must be discarded at the end of the turn. Step 19. All of the correctly interpreted character cards, location cards or object cards are placed into each of the psychic's character sleeves, and all the vision cards given by the ghost can be discarded. Unless one or more of the psychics interpreted incorrectly and had to remain behind on the progress board they started on at the beginning of the turn. These psychics can keep their vision cards for the next turn to try and interpret the correct card next round. Step 20. At the start of the next turn, move the hour hand on the clock to the next hour. Repeat the process again. The ghost and the psychics only have 8 turns to move up the board and get to the epilogue progress board. The psychics also only have 8 turns to gain as many clairvoyance points as they can, by agreeing or disagreeing with the other psychic's choices. The clairvoyancy tokens are refreshed at the beginning of turn 4. Remove the tokens from the discard pile and hand them back to the psychics. If the psychics do not get to the epilogue board by the end of the 8th turn, the game is over. Step 21. Once all psychics have reached the epilogue board, it is now time to reveal the true culprit. This is completed in 3 steps. Step 1. Suspect lineup. Step 2. Shared vision. Step 3. Straw poll. Remove all the remaining character, location and object cards. Also remove the character progress board, location progress board and object progress board, so all that is remaining is the epilogue and clairvoyancy tracker boards as shown. Step 22. Suspect lineup. Line up the psychic sleeves under the epilogue board and empty all of the contents from each sleeve underneath the psychics as shown. These are the suspected killers, the alleged location of the murder and possible murder weapon. Only one is the real murderer, location and murder weapon. Step 23. The ghost must now remove the ghost tokens from behind the ghost screen and place them underneath each of the psychics and suspects of the same color, number side up. Step 24. The shared vision. The ghost now has one last attempt to show the psychics his killer. The ghost will pick 3 vision cards from his hand. These cards form a shared vision to all of the psychics. One card needs to represent the murderer, the second card needs to represent the location of the murder, and the third vision card needs to represent the murder weapon. In this example, the ghost chose the blue player to have the correct killer, and has placed the number 3 culprit token onto the epilogue board at the start of the game. The ghost must choose 3 cards from his hand to best represent each of the cards identified by the blue psychic player. The ghost can still use a crow counter, if any are left in play, at this stage if required. Step 25. The ghost places the 3 chosen vision cards face down on the table. At this point the ghost can no longer change the visions or use a crow counter. Step 26. The straw poll. The ghost must give the clairvoyancy tokens of their color to each of the psychics, matching the numbers on the ghost tokens. The psychic players will use one of the matching numbered clairvoyancy tokens to vote who they think the real killer is. Step 27. During the straw poll, the psychics hold a majority vote on who they think the killer is. The psychics' vote is secret and the psychics cannot communicate with each other at this stage of the game. The psychic with the least clairvoyancy score votes first, the next highest score votes second, and so on. The numbers at the top of the clairvoyancy tracker represent the psychic's score. This also represents how many of the vision cards they can view from the shared vision. The more clairvoyant the psychic is, the bigger and more detailed vision they will see. For example, the blue psychic player has no clairvoyance, so can only see one of the vision cards before placing his or her vote. The yellow psychic player has 2 clairvoyancy points, so again, can only see one of the vision cards before placing his or her vote. The yellow psychic player will vote second as he or she has a higher score than blue. The black psychic player has 5 clairvoyancy points, so can see 2 of the vision cards before placing his or her vote. The black psychic player will vote last as he or she has a higher score than blue and yellow. You cannot change your vote once you have voted. Step 28. The game is won if the majority of psychics vote for the correct killer chosen by the ghost at the start of the game. If the majority vote is for the incorrect killer, or the psychics do not reach the epilogue board by the end of turn 8, then the game is lost. For example, the blue player reveals the first vision card and places his vote as he or she can only view one card. The yellow player can also only view the one card, so places his or her vote. The black player reveals the second card as he or she can view 2 cards and places a vote. The culprit token is then flipped over once all psychics have placed their vote to reveal the true killer. As 2 of the psychics have voted for suspect 3, the game has been won. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Brought to you by Experience Bar, Next Level Coffee.